Hi there, my fellow female activists. I am your wellness coach, Cathy, and we are here talking about basically mental fitness. Okay, so this is the mental fitness, um, our wellness playlist, and we're talking about mental fitness, and we're talking about how EQ is greater than IQ. So we always start these wellness playlist videos with positive quotient repetitions or PQ reps. And I really could use some right now. So feel free to close your eyes if you feel safe. I'm going to do the same. And whether you're sitting or standing, go ahead, roll your shoulders back. And let's go ahead and wherever your feet are, think about them grounding into the surface they're on, and really all four corners of them going into that surface so that you feel grounded, so that you can feel, okay, what it takes to keep you nice and secure. Go ahead and wiggle your toes, spread them. Go ahead and lift the toes if you can, even if they're in shoes. Spread them and then go ahead and push them back down so that you have even more of a base and you're feeling really grounded. And then feel the actual muscles, right? All those tendons and ligaments in your feet. They work so hard and you don't really notice them. But as you're noticing now, you can really tell that it takes a lot of balance. Even if you're sitting and your feet are on the ground sturdy, it still takes effort. So if you're blessed enough to have movement, right? It's an amazing process that happens instantaneously. And it's something we get to be grateful for. And then go ahead and take that awareness of your feet and take it into your ankles and then the calves and your tibia, all of the components of your legs now, if you're able to feel. And then bring it up through your upper leg area, all the way up into your pelvic area, and then your torso, and then through up into your chest area. And again, pull back your shoulders, but keep your belly button notably towards your spine and your ribs knitted, just so that you keep a nice, strong spine. And think about all of those sensations that you just felt. And when you're ready, if they're closed, blink your eyes back open and welcome back. That was positive quotient repetitions. And what that does is that it brings us into our body again. Too often we're always looking outside. This is putting us back into our bodies so that our minds are connected, as they should be, to our bodies. So, with that, today, again, our wellness playlist, it is mental fitness, and the title is EQ, or emotional intelligence, is greater than IQ. And why do I say that? So, emotional intelligence, okay, um, for all intents and purposes, has been thought of as a soft quality or soft skill. And that's based on patriarchy. Let's just face it, right? So, what I want you to think about is the notion, okay, that unfortunately, everything that we know to be true, okay, about what is most useful, okay, in a, let's say, societal setting, quite literally, is based on patriarchy, okay? So, the critical skills, are all linear in nature. And we want linear. We need obviously analytical skills, right? That's very important. And the emotional intelligence, those skills, those are even more important. Why? While we definitely need, like, to be a rocket scientist, you need analytical skills, right? Like, that's important. And even rocket scientists can utilize emotional intelligence. Why? Because it's in those moments of vibrancy, right? It's in those moments of actual peaceful thoughtfulness, calmness, okay? Not hustle. No, no, no. Hustle mentality is completely patriarchal in nature. When we're in a flow state, okay, which I would say most rocket scientists don't really think about, but when they are in their flow state, they're not hustling. They are in a state of calm. They're in a state of focus. That takes emotional intelligence. Okay. So there was a time, right, where they would say that, um, you know, more masculine traits, okay, are analytical. And there is like, we have both feminine and masculine energy in us, right? And to put, you know, differentiations on those skill sets, you can call them feminine and masculine, and that's fine. But to equate any type of weakness towards one or the other it's a falsehood. Emotional intelligence is very, very crucial to being a very useful human, okay? And to be a productive human. You want to be able to keep a level head, okay? And that's not about being analytical. Keeping a level head means that you're able to stay neutral, okay, on an emotional level when anything, okay, or anyone is going astray. So, for example, here's a perfect example. I was for most of my past life, I was basically, I organized everyone else. I was administrative support. And more times than not, my main goal every day was to keep myself in a level temper. Why? Because that way I could gauge other people. And that's how I supported them. I knew when they were frazzled. I knew when they were getting uppity, right? Or whatnot. And at the same token, knowing that if I could gauge others, I had to be in myself in a state of calm. I had to be in a state of level-headedness. So EQ, okay, which technically you could say emotional quotient, but emotional intelligence, okay, is as important, if not more, than IQ. Someone can have a huge IQ and have no social skills. All right. So, I give great props to people who have massive intelligence. That's awesome. But can they actually relate to other people and get their thoughts across, right? Life is harder, regardless if you're very, very intelligent, if you don't know how to relate to others. So give yourself a lot of credit wherever you're at in the IQ state and realize that your emotional intelligence actually can get you farther. And I'm not saying again that, it's not important to have, scientists and analytical thinkers. No, no, no. On the contrary, those people are so necessary. And they're even more valuable if they know how to utilize their emotional intelligence and or elevate their own emotional intelligence. I wanted to bring this up because, we're in a situation right now where every day we are in a state of complete shock, quite literally, right? And if you're not shocked, that's the problem, right? Like we are being so torn down consistently about what's happening with this fascist regime in 2025, at the end of 2025 when I'm recording this, but needless to say, that it is important to keep your nervous system as regulated as possible. And then to tell yourself, okay, I can make this work. And in doing so, you're going to make your life a lot easier. So I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination, again, that necessarily you can throw away everything as long as you have emotional intelligence. What I'm saying is that when you think about your emotional intelligence, it is as important, okay, if not a tad more than the IQ. Why? Because you can learn anything, quite literally, assuming that, you have the capability to do so. Learning emotional intelligence takes a long time. And so if you cultivate it early on, it becomes easier as you grow, right? Again, anyone can be taught anything when it comes to like a critical skill. But your emotional intelligence, that comes with a certain amount of maturity that has to come through how you have developed, okay? How you have been trained, okay, from being a little kid up into if you're an adult. So emotional intelligence is so important. Do not discredit the importance of your own personal maturity in any situation. And for sure, don't underestimate how important it is to keep your nervous system in check and regulated so that you can perform at anything, at any time, with resilience and definitely with the type of level-headedness that it's going to take, to make it through these times of fascism. So that was quick, but I just wanted to bring that to you and let you know again, EQ is in fact greater in some instances than IQ. So don't discredit yourself in any way, shape, or form. If, maybe it takes you a little longer to figure out a critical skill, that's okay. Your emotional intelligence is going to serve you just as much, if not more. So with that, we will see you next time. Take care, take charge. God bless.